We're all capable of making mistakes in life, and it's not always pleasant when we're called out on our behaviour. However, the majority of people might go into some form of defence mode, and they might walk away and think, they were right, potentially stand our ground, or at some point sort of admit fault and admit that we were wrong. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to face up to. Some people find it easier than others. Narcissistic people find it near enough impossible. We can often call people out, just like people can call us out, as we're looking for that resolution, we're looking for that conversation, we're looking for the openness and the honesty, and to gain the understanding and the clarity of a situation. However, whenever you call a narcissistic person out who has that sense of grandiosity, a belief that they are special, they're envious of others, they have that sense of entitlement that they can do as they please, they are arrogant enough to believe that they are always right. It never seems to work out in where you get genuine communication, where you find a resolution, where you get that understanding and clarity. You often feel more let down and more confused and more hurt, and they go all out to seek to punish you. They go to several different defense mechanisms to protect their fragile ego and maintain their sense of superiority, maintain their sense of control in the situation. They're looking to sell an image of perfection, and anyone calling them out on anything different, they get highly offended to. So when you call a narcissistic individual out, first and foremost, they might just deny all knowledge. They might refuse to acknowledge any mistake that they made. They might accuse you of making things up, of being out to get them in some way, but they're not going to admit to fault unless it can make them appear good to others. The self-righteous narcissist who did it for the benefit of everybody else. A narcissist might also go into repression, where they're going to push down any sort of negative remarks from you. They're going to remain calm to maintain that false image. And as you're saying, hey, but you said this, then you must have me confused with somebody else. That's not me. So they're going to push the negative to one side so that they can remain calm, deny all knowledge. And this can often then lead to frustration and anger and resentment within you. You can react negatively towards them, and then they can stand there and say, I think someone needs to calm down. I think someone's having some issues. And it helps them to remain calm, seeing that you are wound up. With a narcissistic individual, they might go to reaction formation, where they're going to present themselves a bit like that repression. They're going to present themselves of being different to how they truly feel. They're going to put on a facade of kindness and generosity to mask their narcissistic injury. So you call them out, especially if you call them out in public, and it can potentially lead to humiliation, and they're going to offer to do something for you, or they're going to bring up somewhere they're taking you. So what you've called them out on suddenly gets sort of passed over, and everyone thinks about how amazing the narcissist is for wanting to treat you and spoil you, especially after you've just accused them of something. They can go into that regression. They can resort to those childlike behaviours. They can tantrum like no other. They can become sulky, and not just with you, but with those around you, or they can sulk with you and be the life and the soul of the party to gain the validation and the attention with those around you. They can use these silent treatments to try and manipulate you. They're going to look to avoid responsibility at all costs. They can gaslight you. Now with a toddler who's just learning about the world and has that sort of fear within them, and they've eaten the piece of chocolate that they shouldn't have eaten before their dinner and it's smeared all over their face, and their parent catches them and says, "Have you just eaten that chocolate?" And the child goes, "No." They're not intentionally trying to manipulate their parents. They're a child. They're learning about how the world works. They're trying to protect themselves. And we learn in time how to potentially not do things that are going to give us those negative consequences. We can also learn sort of how it's not going to have a major negative effect. Perhaps we shouldn't, but we're all capable of bending the rules. We're all capable of breaking the rules. And we're all capable, when we get called out, of having that sort of, no, even though you did, and then admitting to it. With a narcissist, they will be adamant that it wasn't them, or that you said that they could do something. They will be adamant it wasn't them, and they will resort to childlike behaviours in order to avoid taking any form of responsibility. They will go into that sort of displacement where they're going to look to shift the blame. You gave it to me. You said I could, just like the child. It wasn't my fault. If they hadn't, then I wouldn't. They're going to refuse to accept any form of responsibility, and they're going to find somebody else to blame. They're going to scapegoat somebody else. A narcissistic individual can lie and deceive their partner. They can cheat on their partner. Yet they find a way to blame their partner for their behaviour, not only to their partner, but also to their friends and their family and their news supply. It's their partner that wasn't there for them. It's their partner that didn't give them attention. It's their partner that was crazy. They've had to put up with so much. They're looking for that sympathetic attention so that they don't have to face the consequences for their behaviours that are morally wrong. They can try to rationalise and justify their behaviour with what seem to be very valid reasons. Only they repeat this behaviour time and time again, just like when they shift the blame. So they can potentially promise to pick their children up and then claim they had to work. However, you find out they weren't actually working, but it seems valid. And if you try and point out that they weren't working, they accuse you of attacking them. They know they've got one over on you, so they're very good at remaining calm once they know that they wound you up, which is why it's always advisable to remain calm around a narcissist, but remain safe around a narcissist. They will go all out to project their own negative traits and qualities, really call them qualities, their own negative traits and behaviours onto those around them, often with baseless accusations. If they're cheating, they'll accuse you of cheating. If they're feeling sensitive, they will provoke you into being sensitive and accuse you of being too sensitive. Narcissistic people can't handle criticism, yet they will humiliate and mock you and then accuse you of the one who is unable to take a joke. They will find a way to blame you for their behaviour by projecting their intentions onto you. So when you finally had enough of their behaviour and you stand your ground around them, they accuse you of being awkward and selfish and difficult, the very things that they actually are. And as they're calling you those things, it can sort of click in your head and you think, no, you're the awkward one, you're the selfish one. If you say anything, if you call them out, they're going to deny, they'll go into that repression, they'll go into that reaction formation, they'll regress, they'll go into that displacement, they'll rationalise and they'll project onto you and accuse you of being the problem. There's no winning with narcissistic individuals because they don't see themselves as the problem. They're not willing to learn from their mistakes. They're very often willing to just play the hero or the victim in the situation in order to get the validation and attention that they require. The best way to win against a narcissist is to walk away and know any behaviours you noticed of a narcissistic individual when they got called out on their behaviour, please do add those into the comments for people reading through. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support of the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. I do also have several books out on Amazon: 15 Rules to Deal with Narcissistic People If You Cannot Go No Contact, a Narcissists Handbook, which is the ultimate guide to understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, and how to create boundaries around those who have no respect for your boundaries. If you'd like to go and check those out, they'll be in the description and the comments also. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.